What's happening? What's going on? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing, people? It is a Friday night. Yes, it is. It's Friday. It's been Friday all day. For some of us, that don't mean anything, but for other people, that means you don't have to work tomorrow. But yeah, man, how we doing, people? How we doing? I hope everybody is having an awesome, awesome week, or have had an awesome week, leading into this here um, weekend with everything that I'm sure you all are busy and you got a lot going on with everything. But hey, man, yeah, I one of the things that um, I enjoy doing is speaking and talking to people. And here lately, I've had the opportunity to go speak in white rooms, which I am happy, to be honest with you, that they have invited me, or I've been invited to these areas, to these spaces, to these places to sit and have a conversation. I feel, and I've always felt, that we need to have conversations. The problem is we don't ever have conversations. We don't get to a point to where people feel comfortable, right? And one of the things that I've learned when I'm invited to come into these spaces to speak is the first thing that I always have to do is I always have to make people feel comfortable. That's my main goal. Anytime they call me up and say, Rev, would you come in and speak at blah 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 place? Okay. First thing I always ask, okay, I got to know the ratio. I mean, what am I speaking to? Who am I speaking to? Number one, I need to know, is this an all-white room? Is this a white room with a few black people? Is this a white room with a few people of color or whatever? But I need to know so I can know what the comfortability of the people are going to be in that room. Because a lot of times what happens is, one second. What happens is you get in these rooms and people are afraid, really. They've got questions, but they sit on their hands and they're like, if I ask this question, am I gonna be blah blah, or am I gonna look like blah blah, or am I gonna get? And that's the main thing. The first thing that I do when I scope the room out, okay, this is who I got. I've got to make them comfortable enough by the end of whatever I say. That room have to be comfortable enough to ask that question that they would never ask anyplace else. I always have to. That's my main. That is going into it. It's two things. To say that we can have an open dialogue and to make those people feel comfortable enough to actually ask the question that they would only ask or talk about when the doors are shut. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So don't sit here and try to act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. And this is a point that I always make. Same thing with here. I've got to make you feel comfortable enough to sit here and go, well, hey, I've got a question, and I'm going to ask that question because I want an answer to that question. So I got to make you feel comfortable. That's what I have to do when I go into these rooms. I got to make white folks feel comfortable enough to ask the question that they always wanted to ask, but they were afraid to ask. Well, I had that opportunity on today. I was asked to come in and speak with a group of people, and I, the whole room was completely white. I was the only black person. I was the only black person in the room. Okay, there had to be probably 26, 27 people there, give or take, and we had conversation, which was cool. And it's like I told him, this is what we have to do. You've got to get uncomfortable, right? In order for us to move forward, I've always said this. In order for us to move forward, there's a group of people that have to get uncomfortable. And we can move forward. But the problem is that group of people don't ever want to get uncomfortable. That's why we're stuck. That's why we're stuck where we're at. That's the bottom line. That's why we're stuck. But until we get uncomfortable enough that we can have these conversations that you would never have any other time, we're stuck. And that's the sad part about this. When this generation, can actually start making a change, we can actually start making a difference in the way that we speak, talk, and see each other. And if we can start there, everything else is going to work itself out. You read your Bible, there's a reason God changed the language. Why he screwed up nobody could understand each other anymore. There was a reason for that. And that's part of the problem now. Even though we speak the same language, we don't hear each other the same. What I say, you and I, we can be in a room. I can repeat exactly what you said, and you will interpretate that totally different than what I said it was. I'll give you an example. So, Tim Walz was, I don't know where he was at, but he was somewhere talking about the flag, the Minnesota flag. Correct? I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but he was. I don't know where he was at, but he was talking about the Minnesota flag. Looked like he was down in Texas or somewhere like that. But in his comments, or what he said, Tim Walz said that the old Minnesota flag was racist. And a lot of people was like, whoa, wait a second. How did he get that what about that flag did he consider to be racist? And I said, well, the only way you can make that Minnesota flag racist to where the Democrats can call it racism is if you put a white man chasing an Indian. True fact. If you put a white man on there chasing an Indian ready to kill him. That's a fact. Well, you can get mad at me for saying what I said, but that is a fact. Did not white men chase Indians right here in this state of Minnesota and killed them? Though that's the point that I'm talking about. Some people will get mad at that. But then they got to stop and go, damn it, he's right. So but my point was, I don't understand how Tim Walz see that flag as racist. I pulled it up, zoomed in on all the pictures on there, and I don't get the racist part. You got a Native American or an indigenous guy who's riding around with. You got the settlers on there, and some. So I guess where is it racist? It was so racist. We decided to make a new flag, and that new flag look like somewhere overseas. That the new flag to me is more racist than the old flag. That's just to me. But the bottom line, what I'm coming down to say is this here. We need to have conversations. We need to have talks. We need to sit down with one another to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And whatever question people have, we should be able to answer those questions. And whatever tough questions people have, you should be able to ask those tough questions without being afraid to ask those questions. Without being afraid to ask those questions. Lady asked me a question today. And she asked me a question. She goes, I don't mean no disrespect. And I stopped her right there. I said, don't start it that way. I said, because when you start it that way, that kind of tells me that you're looking for me to go, oh, and I'm not going to do that. Now, ask your question the way you want to ask. Not, I don't mean no disrespect. You're not disrespecting me and wanting to find out information and wanting to learn something new. So we're not gonna ask the question that way. Start over. So she goes, well, I've got a friend. I was okay. I'm gonna go with that. So I got a friend that's from another country, and she goes kind of upset because I called her black, but she's looks just like you, Rev. And I said, okay, I understand what you're what you want to know. You want to know why is people who come from other countries here in this United States that looks black, but they don't consider themselves black, correct? I said, and you know what? We don't consider them black, and we don't want them to consider themselves black. I don't want somebody from Jamaican coming over here saying, I'm black. I don't want somebody from Cuba coming in saying, I'm black. I don't want nobody from Nigeria, from East Africa, from West Africa, for any part of Africa coming over here saying, I'm black. I don't. Period, point blank. Come over and say, I'm Nigerian. I'm blah, blah. I'm this, I'm that. Don't come over here saying that you're black because people think you're black American. Don't want it. That's why she told you who she is. Because we're not the same. They are not like us. They will never, ever be like us. They people did not come over here and fight in these wars and not get the benefits of being a black American whose blood is in that flag. The very flag people wrapped themselves with and love. Their people was not there. If you're not an descendant of slaves, ADOS, American descendant of slaves, an African descendant of slaves, don't sit here and say you're black, because you're not. Blackness is strictly straight for American black people whose ancestors were slaved, hung from trees, was stolen, was shackled, was raped, was beat, was hung, was murdered, was sold. That is a black American. And some of these guineas and boneheads and whatever else you want to call them, who came over on airplanes ain't got nothing to do with us. This is what I say to the lady. Nothing. Nothing. They love to sit there and talk about the culture of the black American, but look whose culture is all over everywhere. I turn on a dance contest and ain't nothing but Asian kids being black. Talking about a group who has K-pop. That's black. Talking about a group who have bought into the black psyche, the black culture. Asians. Hey, look at their dance. Look at how they're walking around with their pants hanging down, braiding their hair. It happens here over in St. Paul. I go over to St. Paul, and I'm sitting there going, look at these here Asian Negroes. They have bought into the black culture like you would not believe. So, yeah, no, they're not like us. The Nigerians that come over here, no. The East Africans, no. Go to Brooklyn Park. They got their own culture. They got their own thing going on. Yeah, they look like me, but they're not me. They don't consider themselves me, and I don't consider them me. They're East Africans. They're West Africans. They're Somali, just like that young lady that called that Somali kid a nigger. He's not he's not. He's not. He may be dark, but he's not a nigger. He's not. I'm a nigger when it comes to black folks. I'm a nigger when it comes to white folks. Because my people, my great-great-grandfather, great-grand to the great-grand, came, and my great-grandmother to the great-grand to the great-grand, came off a boat, was stolen from my homeland. Lucky enough to survive the trip across the water on a boat. Got off a boat. And my grandfather, I don't know about my grandmother, but my grandfather got off the boat in Charleston, South Carolina, marched in a market, shackled, sold to the highest bidder, was taken from Charleston, South Carolina to Tennessee. And them East Africans, that didn't happen. They come over here, that didn't happen to them. And Nigerians, didn't happen to them. And anybody else who come from over there on a plane that look like me, that didn't happen to their people. So let us be as clear as day on to right here and now. That's why the white liberal came up with the POC, P-O-C. That's why they came up with that. To try to group us all into one situation. So when black folks scraped from the country who was sold in slavery, black folks whose ancestors fought in every single war in this, them people are to have benefits because our people, blood is in that flag. These POC people got the same benefits as my grand who fought in the war. Same benefit. And they people ain't done shit. They flew over here on a plane. And they get treated the same way I get treated, and my family, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, all of them got the whip, got the rope, got the chains. No, man. No. They cannot be part of who we are. Ever. Now I don't know what they back in their country, what white people called them. I have no clue. Ain't never thought of it. Ain't never put two and two together on it. I don't know. But we went from being Negroes, we went from being niggers to Negroes to colored to African American, to black folks. If you didn't go down that chain of events, we not POC. I will never be. Ever. Don't ever. It's just like I tell the white liberal. Don't ever around me or you going to get a tongue lashing. Call me a POC. Don't even try me with this BOC POC. That BI/POC. Don't ever put me with them people. I am a proud black American. I'm proud because I know what my people went through to have me get to this here spot that where I'm at now. We died. We were hung. My grandmother, my great-grandmother and all, probably raped by a white man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Black baby stolen. Used as gator bait down in Florida. No, man, you can't take that. Black men fought, black African-American men who once were slaved, who were once were hung, who was once were ran out, who was once were put in barrels, fought for a country that has never, ever considered them to be people. Ever. Up till this day, I will say that. They trying to take Donald Trump. Hold on. No. I know you're sitting there going, Rev, that's not true. Use a damn lie. Because that bozo that's in the White House right now, and that reality star from the real world, Pete Hegseth, look it up, is literally trying to take Medgar Everest's name off of a ship. But yet, they're restoring all of this Confederate who lost. Hold on. Lost. They lost. Did they not? Did the Confederates lose? They're losers. Confederates are flat out losers. Losers. But yet, they are putting Confederate names back on stuff and trying to remove this man. Gave his life up for a group of people. And you're going to tell me that this man who was a winner, this man who said, my life is worth it, you're going to take his name off a ship and put these loser-ass Confederates' name. Pete Hegseth and your loser president is doing this. So don't sit there and tell me, oh, Rev, no, you're liars. You're liars. So no. Not when Dr. King, black man, whose mom and dad was slaves. Grandmother, grandfather, whatever, slaves. Not when he gets shot and give his life up for fighting for equality. No. You can't come to this country. Can't do it. And that's the reason why you got the people who come to this country, they be, me no black. I'm glad they say that. I'm glad they letting y'all know they're not like us. We got all these, the police chief of Minneapolis. Watch this, true story. Police chief of Minneapolis. Look it up yourself. You're going to look all this stuff up that I'm talking to you about. Just talked about it. I've been talking about, I tell y'all every time I go downtown. Anytime I go downtown, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm chasing these kids off the streets. These are not our kids. These are not black kids. These Somalians, East Africans, Haitian, Nigerian kids that's causing these problems right now. Those are the kids. The The police chief said it himself. I've been saying it for I don't know how long. Nobody heard me. But all of a sudden, the police chief says the exact same thing. I mean, literally the exact same thing that I said. Now everybody's paying attention. I said that 3 months ago. When I was down there on First Avenue, it's 12:15. These kids are running around acting a fool. And they're telling me I'm all this and they can put the foot in my ass and all this here type of stuff. I looked at the kids and go, y'all are not black American kids, are you? Nope. These are East African kids. I reported on this here months ago. Nobody said nobody. Nobody said nothing. Nobody heard anything that I said. Then all of a sudden the chief gets on here and says exactly what I said. Oh, now it's a problem. Oh, it wasn't a problem when I was telling you that these kids were problems? A black man can't tell you that you have a problem in the community. And those problems are not black kids. Oh, y'all don't want to hear me. But you got to take a white man to tell you the exact same thing that I just said. Now, all of a sudden, it's all over the news, and everybody want to cover it, and everybody want to talk about it. We got all of these here highfalutin East African kids and Haitian kids whose parents got a little bit of money now, and these kids are running around trying to act like they're thugs. These kids are not thugs. These kids didn't grow up in Minneapolis. They didn't grow up in Rice Street and Maryland and St. Paul. These very kids who are out here doing these crimes right now, they're from the suburbs. And it cracks me up how they feel they got to come into Minneapolis to create crime. Create crime in your community. Maple Grove is right up the street. Maple Grove, from Brooklyn Center, y'all can ride your bikes to Maple Grove to cause trouble. You can. From Fridley, from Hilltop, from Edina, from all of that. Y'all that close to Plymouth? Well, you've been causing trouble in Minnetonka, Wayzata. Y'all been causing trouble out there. There's Plymouth. There's Orno over there. There's Hopkins right up the street there. All right, you can move through all of those communities. There's Champlin right over there. You can even go out to Elk River. You can go out to St. Michael's. All of that. You don't need to come down. I don't understand why you're coming down to Minneapolis creating problems instead of just doing it in your own community. That's what throws me off. That's what's throwing me off. Y'all in Minneapolis, you don't live in Minneapolis, you don't do anything in it, but you bring it back to Minneapolis. And then they found guns. Kids under 18. They found guns on them. Read the report for yourself. See, here's the part that cracks me up about these so-called gun groups that fight for your rights to own guns. You ain't heard a word from them. I haven't heard one word from these so-called gun groups who call themselves fighting for your gun. Here are kids under 17 running the streets with firearms. Now you understand why they want to ban firearms. I would think if I had a group, a gun group, and I was fighting for people's rights for guns, I would put myself in the position of going, maybe I should also fight the situation of how these kids are getting these guns. They found 4 guns on kids under the age of 18. 4. So how are these kids getting the guns? See, these are things that these gun groups don't care about. Don't matter. They don't care about that. Doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter. It's just as long as they can keep people getting the guns. And if they can keep people getting the guns, then guess what? 16, 17, 18, and 19-year-old kids can also get guns. And they put switches on the back of their guns. Right now, St. Paul took a vote 7-0 to ban. Not that they can do anything. They can't. You know, that's what cracks me up about this. They cannot do anything. But there's going to come a day when they can. There's going to come a day. The one of the anti-gun groups is literally started a gun safety. They've been fighting the guns, but they were smart enough. You would think that the NRA would be like, hey, let's go into the black community, because that's where a lot of the there's a lot of the gun violence is where? In the black community. Let's go into the black community and act like we give a damn. You ain't seen the gun group come into the black community knowing that most of the gun deaths is of young black men using guns. You ain't seen them come in and act like they gave a damn. Have you? Have you? No. No. If they were smart, they would. But again, people who these gun groups are mainly Republicans, right? They're mainly Republicans. And these gun groups act like Republicans. They just will not come into the black community to do a damn thing. Nothing. And that's why you got places like St. Paul that can sit there and go, well, we're going to put up a gun ban, knowing that we can't do it. But it's the mindset. It gets into people's psyche. It gets into their mind. And they go, well, yeah, we should be banning these guns. And if they get enough people thinking this way, it's not going to be long before they can actually pass a type of bill like that, and it'll go through. So instead of fighting it on the outside, what do these gun groups do? They spend all of this money in courts. So what's going to happen is, and these little counties around Minneapolis are smart. As many times as we go to court, guess what has to happen? These gun groups have to spend money in court. Who do you think got more money? The little gun group or these cities? One side plays checkers, and the other side plays chess. He said, Marco said, the NRA has their Eddie Eagle program. But do you really think the Democrats would have? Well, I don't know what the Eddie Eagle program is, so I would have to look into that. If the Eddie Eagle program is anything talking about coming into the black community and teaching gun safety, I don't understand why that would a Democrat would deter them. Only thing you need is a room, flyers, and the willing to want to work with people. I don't understand why anytime it comes to black folks, people have to sit there and go, whoa, do you think the Democrats will? Look, I go in and talk to places that the Democrat, they don't bother me. Democrats don't bother, they may complain, but what they gonna do, stop me? If they wanted to hold something in right there in the middle of Minneapolis, they could call me, hey, Rev, can we use your church? Sure can. You think Republicans are going to come to me and ask me, hey, Rev, I got blah, blah going on. You think the NRA, do you think the gun caucus guys has ever come to me and say, you know what, we would like to put blah, blah on? And people ain't never tried to do nothing in the black community. And I'm not giving them a pass because Democrats this or Democrats that. No. We can go to Cub. There's a community center right there, Cub Community Center. Anybody could use that. The Republicans come in and rent that place or ask if they can use that place. And whatever they want to put on there, they can put it on. Better yet, pull up in a trailer. Pull a trailer up. Sit in a parking lot. You don't even have to put it on a parking lot. You can park that right there on Broadway and hold a class. So no, I don't play that. The Democrats this or the Democrats that. People want to do something. Anytime I want to do something, I just do it. I don't ask Democrats for their permission. When I called you guys down there during the George Floyd riot, right? When we got our AR-15s, hold on, Mark. They loved us then, did they not? Mark, you was there. People honking on the street. Everybody was happy to see us. When we was marching up and down Broadway with our AR-15s, did we have a problem with anybody? Did the Democrats say anything? The police chief rolled up on us and said thank you, correct? So when I do things, I don't ask the Democrats for a damn thing. I don't ask their permission. If I do something, I don't ask nobody in Minneapolis for their permission, period. They can kiss my black ass is what they can do. And if they got a problem with anything that I do, they can get these hands, and they know that. Oh, yeah, and I'm not, no, see, I ain't playing it like that. Nope. I'll tell you what happened, Mark. I'll tell you what happened. They did not connect with, when we gave them, he did not connect with the right person. And instead, and hold on, I'm going to show you something else, Mark. And instead of him coming in on his own and doing what he was supposed to do, he went and tried to use somebody else that didn't have the connection that they lied and said they had the connection with. Go talk to Ryan Wilson. Ask Ryan Wilson how did he get into shallow church? Talk to Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson came to North Minneapolis because he wasn't trying to use somebody to get into North. He came there himself. So no, sir. That it didn't go down like that, my friend. It did not go down like that. That's what I'm saying. When these Republicans come in, right, they want to try to come in the back doorway instead of just going, look, I'm bringing a trailer in here. I'm parking it right here. I got my microphone. I got my little speaker, and I'm going to say what I want to say. You cannot come into a Democratic place asking if you can. You just got to go and do it. His problem, if we're talking about the same person, Scott Jensen, if that's who we're talking about, no, brother. And then what happened was, dude that was running, I keep forgetting his name. Dude that was running for mayor, trying to make people believe he was an independent when he was actually a Republican. He was running for mayor of Minnesota. He lied. He kept lying to people, talking about he's an independent. He's running as an independent when he really was a Republican. Laverne Turner. So Laverne Turner, so somehow, some way, and I don't know how this worked out, somehow, some way, Mark, Laverne Turner got a place got involved, got a place all the way over in northeast Minnesota, northeast Minneapolis, over in the white folks area. And that's how they, and I've got the pictures. If we're talking about the same place, I'll show you the picture. I was there. I got pictures of all these black folks in this space that LeVar Turner was able to put together because the Republicans screwed up when they came in and tried to get Cub. Anybody can use Cub, my friend. You just got to go in and say, I need this space at this here amount of time. It is a community place. If not Cub, you can go, hey, I told him he can come to my church. Matter of fact, Jim Schultz, watch this. I had Jim Schultz at my church. Let's put something on for you so the people know who you are. Jim Schultz, right? Who ran for Attorney General. This is when I was done with Jim. Done with him. Realize he's a phony. I had this man sit in my church. As close to me and we are right now. Dude, here's the deal. We've got to put something on for you so these people know. Jim Schultz wouldn't even come. Would not, Republican, would not come. So, Mark, to answer your question, again, I'm going to say it again. Had that been done right, correct, there wouldn't have been a problem. But because the GOP have zero, that's why I sit here and I say today, I gotta see how the Republican Party tried to sell their little black woman to the black people in Minneapolis. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be epically good. Because I can tell you right now, it's just unless they got something that I don't know about. How are you gonna sell a black person? Listen to what I'm saying here. And I want you guys to understand what I'm saying. Right? I know everybody talking about, it's about it. Well, it'd have to be about because it is right now. This is gonna y'all gonna mark my word. I get on here and I say things. Just like I said, I was talking about those East African kids months ago. And nobody said a word. Then all of a sudden now we want to talk about the East Africans. Months ago, if y'all had been on this here, you could have been down there doing something. But you didn't. You wait until all of these cars got their windows broke. I sat in front of the committee with the Republicans on one side and the Democrats on another side. And I told you, there's a powder keg that's about to blow up. 2019. What happened in 2020? Did the powder keg blow up? I warned them. Period, point blank. Nobody listened. This is a thing that I always tell these so-called lawmakers. Y'all got to come out on the streets every once in a while. You gotta hear the cries of the street to understand because if you don't hear the cry, that's why, the chief can say what he says. A little late, but he can say what he said because he knows what's going on in the streets. But the bottom line comes down to it, at the end of the day, is that if these people wanted to be a part of, that's going to happen. But to see how the Republicans are going to say, and here's the thing that gets me about this here. Listen, I want you to listen to what I just said. I need you to hear what I just said. The Republican Party, think about this for a second. This is how bad it is. This is how bad it is. The Republican Party has to take a black woman and sell that black woman to the black community. hold on. Let me say that again, because some of you don't understand what I just said. The Republican Party has to take a black woman and sell that black woman to the black community. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. Half black people didn't even know she was black. You go down there right now and say, do you know who Lisa DeMoss is? They're going to tell you no. And then you say, oh, here's her picture. And they're going to go, okay. And then they're going to go, she's a black woman. And they're going to go, okay. In the Republican Party. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I can hear the women in the in the salons right now. Black women in the beauty salon. Oh, Lord. No. Oh, Lord. The black women in the beauty salon will not. Black women vote Democrat. How? What's the percentage? 97%? Black women. So you're going to take Lisa into the black community. You're going to take Lisa into St. Paul, Rice Street, Maryland. You're going to take Lisa into Minneapolis and try to sell her to a black woman? Are you out your mind? Y'all have lost your mind. I don't care if you put the white man with her or not. That almost made it worse. That Winsome from what's his name? From what's his name? Winsome, what was her name? Y'all know what I'm talking about, from Virginia. The NAACP was like, we good. Yeah, I know you look like skin folks, but you're not. So we're gonna go with this white woman. That's what they did. Because she was a Republican. Because she ain't never done nothing for the community. Because she ain't never came in the community. Because the community don't know her. Lisa ain't never been in the community. Lisa don't subscribe to the community. Lisa ain't never helped in the community. Here's a black woman, a Republican, knowing the killings, the shootings in the black community. When has she ever, on the Republican side, walked up and said, I got a bill, I got an idea, I want to put something together to stop the black killing in the black community? When did she speak out during George Floyd? When has she said anything about Dante Wright? Have she said one word about Amir Locke, Jamal Clark? Anything? Where was she at with Rick? I know where Walter Hudson was when it came to Ricky Bell. Walter Hudson was on the white side. He's a black man, a Republican. Where was Lisa on Ricky Bell? Was Lisa down there at the courthouse with her shirt on, with her cop shirt on? Lisa ain't been nowhere near the black community. And y'all gonna try to sell this woman. I really believe that the Republicans are like, we lose all the time. Does it matter? This is what you gonna put up in front, knowing you need, I don't know, the black community there in downtown, in downtown, downtown Duluth. You're gonna go to Duluth, and the few black people that's up there, you're gonna sit there and try that this woman that ain't never done anything for the black community in Duluth, ain't never done anything for the black community in Rochester, ain't never done anything for the black community in St. Paul, ain't never done anything for the black community in the Twin Cities. This is who you gonna put up and try to, and you seriously gonna try to march this woman in front of black women. Y'all are out your mind. Purple says, Ilhan Omar never said anything about black Americans' issue, but Somali issues. That's her job. Why would, that's what's said here. Why would, make me understand why she would say something about the black issues. Why would Ilhan, I don't expect Ilhan Omar to say one word about black issues. I don't. Lisa Damuth is a so-called black woman. Lisa Damuth is the one that should be speaking on black issues. Ilhan Omar is a Somali. She ain't got no business and no right to speak on black issues. So why would I expect her to speak on black issues? I would expect her to speak more on white issues because that's who got her where she's at than her to speak for black issues who have been fighting against them ever since they got here. So why would Ilhan Omar speak on black issues? We ain't got nothing to do with her and her people. She's more white liberal than she is black American. So I would expect her to thank the white man for doing for her what they have done. That's why it cracks me up when she goes against and hate on the white man. White people brought her here. White people put her up. White people made people vote for her. White people gave her money. Black people didn't do that. So why would she ever, make me understand that, why would she ever talk about black issues? Ain't got no reason. Ain't got no reason. I wouldn't expect her to. I would expect her to talk about her Somali issues. Just like Bobby Champion is a black man. I expect Bobby Champion to talk about black issues. I would expect Lisa Damuth to talk about black issues, but she's got to make sure that she keep her white folks happy. Facts. Facts. When have you heard, name me something Lisa has said about the black, has spoken out, or y'all heard her. You don't even hear Lisa saying nothing about, even on her little tour. Her little tour, where's she at? She's out in rural white America, where she's comfortable. She's out in rural white America, where she's comfortable. Doing what? Talking to who? White folks. Lisa ain't comfortable talking to black folks because Lisa don't talk to black folks. Now, I would expect Ilhan, who is around black people, have dealt with black people, I would expect her to say more about black folks than Lisa. I don't expect Lisa to say nothing about black folks. Because Lisa ain't never done nothing, ain't never been around, ain't never went with, ain't never held, ain't none of that. That's the difference. If you're trying to make a difference between Ilhan Omar and Lisa Damuth, that's the difference. At least there's times that I've been in a room and black folks have been there around Ilhan. Now, I've been at the Capitol a couple times. I ain't seen no black folks around Lisa. I've been on Lisa's page and saw all the pictures that she taken. I ain't seen no black folks. So what are they gonna do? We gonna get AI images of Lisa walking up and down the street? Is that what we're gonna get? Because I ain't never seen that woman with no black folks. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Republicans are going to try to sell black folks they black woman. That sounds stupid, don't it? Right? No, that to me, well, to me, maybe to you all that don't sound stupid, but to me that sounds stupid. That the Republican Party has to sell a black woman to the black community. That is crazy. When you sit back and you think about sit back for a few seconds and think about what I just said. Because she has nothing at all connected with, to, or for the black community. Now the Republican Party has to go in and sell their black person to the black community. That's a fact. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. That's a fact. Get mad at me if you want to. Prove me wrong, though. No. Prove me wrong. Exactly what I just said. Prove me wrong. That's what I thought. Sad, but I'm right. Anyway, so yeah, I had, like I said, start off from the beginning. I had a conversation with some women and some men today, white people. They asked that question, and I'm going to stick by what I said. We are not the same. So hey, look, I would rather for you to go up and say, well, you got dark skin, and I know it's uncomfortable, but are you a black, or just ask them, are you a black American? And then they'd be like, no, I'm not. And you, oh, okay, cool. Then I don't have no respect for you. No, I'm just joking. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No, but don't get it crooked, man. Do not get it crooked. Do not get it crooked. Because a lot of times, even when some of these kids are out here acting a fool, like I said, these are not black kids. And Odo, the police chief said it himself. These are not black kids. These are not Minneapolis kids that are out here causing this trouble right now. They're not. They're not my kids. Not my kids that when I'm down in Minneapolis and I'm dealing with them, talking with them, those are not the kids right now that are out here doing some of this bad stuff that's going on right now. It's just like, what's the name? Jamal Osman, who got yapped in his own community. He was a lick in his own community. For those who don't understand what a lick is, he was a victim. We call them licks. But he was a victim. He got carjacked in his own community. And they wasn't the Somali kids. Because Somali kids know him. These had to be, and I said it, right? I said these had to be kids that did not know who he was. These were not Somali kids, and these were not black kids. Because a lot of black kids know who was on the, whatchamacallit. These had to, and I was right. Bingo. Nailed it. These East African kids, these Haitian kids that live outside the Twin City, your Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Centers, your all those areas around there, all those kids. Those are the ones that's coming into Minneapolis causing trouble, and I guarantee you, those are the ones that knocked. I don't know if they hit him. I don't know what they did to him, but those are the ones that jacked up Jamal Osman, the city council member who, he was about that much with the defund the police crap. He was about that much with the defund the police crap. But sometimes you sit there and you go, some people deserve what they get. I don't wish bad on nobody. But there's some people that put themselves in a position. Hold on. There's some people that put themselves in a position. Just saying. You go against the police, you hate on the police, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, boom, somebody bop you up on side the head. That's your fault. If you don't want to walk around with something to protect yourself, that's on you. That's on you. And you know what type of situation that you're in. But I go back to what I said before. Because he was in his community, Ward 6, he felt comfortable. Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not worried about nothing. I'm amongst my people. I do that. I do the same thing sometimes too. Like if I'm downtown and I'm walking one of them alleys, I've done that. I've let my guard down. I've gone, man, I've walked this alley I don't know how many times at this time of night. No big deal. I've done that. I've done that on many times, many occasions. I've been up Plymouth. I've been up Penn Avenue, standing on 36, and forgot. And I'm like, I'm a preacher. Everybody know me. I'm good. And all of a sudden, right down the street, pow, 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 pow. Then it wakes me up, and I go, okay, let me stop acting a fool. So I get probably what happened with him, that he got comfortable. And like we all do it. I've done it on several occasions. I've been down on Hennepin Avenue. I'm talking about far end of Hennepin, where all the gangs basically own the high rises. I've been down there sitting around talking to them guys and not thinking that I'm standing here, and at any point in time, somebody can come around that corner and just start shooting, and I'm standing here with these guys, and I could be a casualty. There's times I forget that until all of a sudden you hear something or something happen, and everybody go, oh, man, and it wakes me up. So I can guarantee you that's what happened to Jamal. Jamal was in his community. He got comfortable, and he became a lick. And I don't think it was the Somali kids. I think it was those Haitian, East African kids who did not know, who just thought he was somebody else. Guaranteed. 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 That's how it worked, people. That's how it works. So the next time you're curious about somebody who looked like me, ask them if they're African American. So go up and say, wait a minute, are you ADOS, African American descendant of slaves? Are you one of those? And if they say no, cool. Cool. And you can ask them. Why don't you ask them? Why don't you say, well, what's the difference? And they'll tell you. They'll say, well, my ancestors did nothing to get here. My ancestors, we were lucky enough to sit back and let the African American descendant of slaves ancestors get beat, raped, hung, shot, murdered, bombed. And then once they went through the torture of going off and fighting for this country, a country that will never love them, once they put their blood in a flag that will never give them the true honor they well deserve, we were able to come over. That's probably what they'll say to you. That's probably what they'll say to you. We were able to come over. We ain't got no skin in the game. True story, people. True story. Nothing I said, nothing I can say, nothing I said tonight can nobody sit there and go, that's not right. You can say that. And if you want to say that, let me know. DM me. And I'll give you the opportunity to be right there. We can have this conversation. As I started off this conversation with saying, we need to have the uncomfortable conversations. I think that's what's missing, is the uncomfortable conversation. When I left there on today, I learned something too, because I asked questions of white people. I learned something too. Just like I asked one lady. One lady said, she goes, I was about 32 years old before I really learned about Black history. I said, they didn't teach you in school? She goes, no. They didn't teach you at home? She goes, no. There's a problem. And most of you white people out there, same way. Ain't no reason. You sit there and go, there's no reason for me to understand black people. For what? For what? I'm privileged, right? Come on. Be real. Like I said, uncomfortable conversation, right? But you ain't got no reason. You don't get up every day worrying about if you're gonna go to jail, if someone's gonna hurt you. If you don't worry about that. I told you the story. Like I said, Memphis, Tennessee, Millington, Shelby County. Like if you sent your little white kid, they can ride all over the neighborhood. You don't worry about them. My mom and dad, when we went right up the street, right to the store, they worried about us. The rule was point blank: if the truck is coming down the street, you walk in the ditch. If the truck stops, you run to the cornfield. Who was driving the truck? Think about it. Who was driving the truck? Why would we have to get in the ditch? And if the truck stopped, why would we run to the cornfield? That's what I grew up doing. Because it was true. In the deep South. Anyway, fam, I am done. I am finished. I appreciate y'all. I ain't going to hold you any. It's a Friday night. I'm sure people want to go watch something. My wife. The reason I'm bouncing all over everywhere because the wife she the wife she do that Kardashian thing. I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with watching the Kardashian. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Here's a woman that she got famous off giving a black man a blowjob on tape. That's her claim to fame. I'm just saying. Anyway, fam, I'm done. I'm finished. I appreciate y'all. I thank you all very, very much. Hopefully, which I gotta hit Carl up. Because last Sunday, I was so bad last Sunday. We was going to have Dexter Taylor. If you don't know who Dexter Taylor is, please, ma'am and sir, look him up. Dexter Taylor is my political prisoner who is in the state pen prison there in New York because he put together a gun. And the state of New York decided to make an example out of a black man, and he is sitting in prison for 10 years. That's a true story. And if everything is cool enough and I'm feeling well, we will have Dexter Taylor right here on Sunday. We try to get him on Sundays so we can go over some things, which is awesome. But if everything works good this week, Sunday, usually about 7 o'clock, why don't you tune in with us and hear Dexter's story? Dexter and I, we always talk about what's going on in the news, things of that sort, get his 2 cents out of it. And we do it also so we can keep Dexter's mind good. I don't know if you've ever been in a prison. I have. Hold on. Let me make sure I say this in a way that it doesn't sound like I was locked up. I've never been locked up. But because I was a prison mentor, I have been in many of the Minnesota prisons. So I know what it sounds like when that door go clink. And even though I knew I was getting out, even though I knew there was going to be a time that I can go guards and I can walk out the door, if you have never been in a prison, you will not understand what I'm saying. I was still ready to put brown spots in my pants. No, it's really that bad when you walk in a prison. And I guarantee you, if I got a prisoner on here right now and I spoke to and I told that prisoner to tell you what it was like, you would understand. But if you have never been behind bars, whether you're really physically in there visiting, dealing this or doing it, If you have never had a tour, that's why I tell people, go take a tour. Go take a tour of a prison. And then come back and tell me what you think. You talking about something. Man, I would never want to be in prison. Never want to be. Only way I'm going to get to prison if you mess with my family. You mess with my family, call it good. Go ahead. The judge will be like, Rev, you got 10 to life. And I'm going to be like, I did get him, right? And he's going to be, yeah. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it. You mess with my family, I'll take it. Anyway, people, I got to get off this thing. But anyway, hey, y'all have a good day. Like I said, if you're not doing anything on Sunday and we got Dexter, please come in and hang out with us, talk with us, have fun with us, laugh with us, and the whole 9 yards. But we're going to end the night like we always end the night. Understanding and realizing that the God we serve is an almighty God. He is a one living, true God. There is no other gods. Let's make sure we understand that. No other gods. I don't care what they tell you out there. There is no other. There is no other Jesus. No other. And there is a Jesus. No matter what people tell you, there isn't. And he ain't this and he ain't that. And we see him as this and that. We see him as the one who laid on these 2 sticks, took a nail, took a cross, and he died on that cross. That's what he did. And he got up for each and every one of us. So when we sinning, which we are, we're all sinners. No, you are. You're a sinner. Which we all are sinners. Thank God that he gave his one and only, right? Because some of us, I know I would be. There's no doubt in my mind, I would be 6 feet under right now. But because of his grace and his mercy, because of his compassion, I'm here talking to you all right here, right now. And that puts a smile on my face. And when you think about your journey and your story and your trip, that should put a smile on your face. Because I know God has done something good for you. And y'all know what we do with those smiles, right? We go out and we smile at somebody. So somebody smile back at you. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace, fam. And we gone.